Walter Payton, Caddyshack, and Wyoming are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is July 25th, 2022. It is the 206th day of the year. We got 159 days left. It is the 30th Monday in the 31st week. And guess what? If today's your birthday, you're a Leo. We finally switched up that Cancer nonsense. You're a Leo now. Today is National Hire a Veterans Day. Every day, hundreds of our military personnel leave service in search of civilian employment. On July 25th, National Hire a Veterans Day reminds employers to consider veterans to fill their open positions. As highly trained, qualified individuals, they are ideal for numerous trades. Legislation protects separating service members as they enter the civilian workforce. However, the best way any potential employer can honor a veteran is to hire one. Now, there's a couple things about veterans being hired. Now, I'll tell you because I am one of them. First of all, when they first get out, it's really hard to get into the civilian life and actually ask for a job. In most cases, you haven't had to do that in 4, 8, 12, 20 years, whatever. Just keep that in mind if you're ever hiring a veteran. I will tell you one thing I noticed. There was a company I worked for. I noticed that they asked, have you ever been diagnosed with PTSD? And I thought that was a rude question. And I kind of understand, but I don't understand. So what I did was filled out 4 applications online. I changed the name. I changed the school that I supposedly graduated from. But on 2 of them, I marked that I had been diagnosed with PTSD. I never got a response from that company on the 2 applications where I marked down I had PTSD. I thought that was kind of rude. 1837, the first commercial use of an electrical telegraph is successfully demonstrated in London by William Cook and Charles Wheatstone. 1853, Joaquin Marietta, the famous California bandit known as the Robin Hood of El Dorado, is killed. Joaquin Marietta is a very interesting story. Back before the Mexican-American War, which was from 1846 to 1848, Mexican families had been living in California for the longest time with the indigenous people. Some of these families, including Joaquin Marietta, had discovered gold in the hills around California, and he was one of them. He took his young wife, moved into the mountains, and he looked for gold. He found it. He was, by all accounts, a very wealthy man, pulling about $300 a day out of the ground, prospecting for gold, which by today's standards is right around $10,000 a day. Well, after the Mexican-American War happened, white settlers showed up in the area and things kind of changed. A lot of them felt that since they won the Mexican-American War, that the Mexicans there were still enemies to them, and they could take whatever they wanted and basically abuse the Mexican population. Then they showed up at Joaquin's place. They demanded he leave his gold mine and it was theirs now and all this, and he refused, and well, things didn't go well. They tied him to a chair, killed his wife, and rode off with everything he had worked for. He eventually untied himself from the chair, buried his wife, and went back to his hometown. When he got there, he'd seen that things had changed. The white settlers were now treating the Mexican people horribly, basically dishing out abuse whenever they could and whenever they wanted to. So he had lost his wife and he had lost all his fortune, and eventually something went wrong and they hung his brother and whipped him. And that kind of made him snap. He'd lost everything. So he tracked down the men that had whipped him and hung his brother, snuck into their camp, killed one of the men, and basically dismembered him and spread him around the camp. This, as you can imagine, freaked out the men in the camp when they found their friend kind of all over the place. Well, he came back a couple days later and did it again. This time, someone saw him do it, and he was dressed all in black. He had killed another man, and he had rode off on his horse. Well, they had all shot at him, and they claimed they'd hit him, and nothing happened. He just kept riding. He came back again. So now the rumors of a supernatural Mexican with a thirst for blood had spread around California, at least in the area around where he lived, which was near Fresno. Originally, he was only out for revenge of the men who had wronged him, and the locals started hearing about it, the local Mexicans, and they started kind of looking up to him like a Robin Hood of sorts. And eventually he started going after people that had wronged other Mexican people in the Sacramento Valley. Eventually, other people that had gone through similar situations joined him, and they all started dishing out vigilante justice. What they were doing kind of worked because the white settlers quit treating the Mexican people the way they were in fear of being on his hit list. Eventually, this band of vigilantes kind of became bandits. They just started attacking ranches and people, gold mines, and just taking everyone's stuff and dishing it out amongst the Mexican population and themselves. Eventually, the California Rangers, who were a Old West law enforcement agency, I guess you could say, they got involved and tracked his band down. Marietta had remarried to a female in his group who had a brother. That brother was eventually caught by the California Rangers. The California Rangers tortured him, and he gave up the location of the band. Nobody's really sure because at the time they weren't taking pictures of people, but they caught up with 8 people. One of them was Three-Fingered Jack, who was known to be in this group. As you can imagine, Three-Fingered Jack was missing a couple fingers. And that's how they confirmed that they killed the right people. They went on to assume that one of the 8 was Joaquin Marietta. Long after his death, the stories about him were spread amongst the populace. He was the inspiration for Zorro. Interesting time in California history. 1866, the United States Congress passes legislation authorizing the rank of General of the Army. Lieutenant General Ulysses S. Grant becomes the first to be promoted to this rank. 1868, the Wyoming Territory is established. 1946, the Crossroads Baker device is the first underwater nuclear weapon test. 1956, 45 miles south of Nantucket Island, the Italian ocean liner SS Andrea Doria collides with the MS Stockholm in heavy fog and sinks the next day, killing 51. 1961, in a speech, John F. Kennedy emphasizes that any attack on Berlin is an attack on NATO. 1965, Bob Dylan goes electric at the Newport Folk Festival, signaling a major change in folk and rock music. 1978, birth of Louis Joy Brown, the first human to have been born after conception by in vitro fertilization, or IVF. 2010, WikiLeaks publishes classified documents about the war in Afghanistan, one of the largest leaks in U.S. military history. Movies released on July 25th, 1980, Caddyshack. This was one of the funniest movies I saw as a kid. I still watch it occasionally. Caddyshack is about a poor kid who spends his summer caddying for wealthy and obnoxious snobs while preparing for an annual golf tournament with the help of his mentor, played by Chevy Chase. The film is ranked 71 on AFI's 100 Years of 100 Laughs survey. That was done in 2000. If you've never seen that movie, just Bill Murray's character in there apparently was pretty much improvised almost the entire thing. That was such a good part he played. Ted Knight's in it too. Incredible. Sadly, he died not too long after that, like 5 years later. Born on July 25th, 1954. Sweetness, Walter Payton. He was a football player. He was a running back who broke the NFL records for most rushing yards, carries, and touchdowns during his 13-year career with the Chicago Bears. Yeah, he played the Chicago Bears the whole time. He was a Boy Scout, a choir singer, he's in the marching band, and a jazz band drummer who didn't try out for his high school football team his sophomore year because he wanted to avoid competing with his brother Eddie. He got the nickname Sweetness. A lot of people think that's because he was just really nice to everything and did a lot of charity stuff. That's not where he got it, even though he was, from all accounts, a really nice man and did a lot of charity work. He got it because in college, during a practice, I guess a guy didn't tackle him hard enough or wasn't going 100%. He told the guy, "Your weakness is your sweetness." And everyone started calling him Sweetness after that. After his death in 1999, the NFL's Man of the Year award, given to one player each season for their volunteer and charity work, was named after him. So now you can get the Walter Payton Award if you're a decent human being. He died of a rare liver disease on November 1st, 1999. Died on July 25th, 1989, Steve Ruble, an entrepreneur who made his name as the owner of the iconic Studio 54, a disco-based club in New York City. He began his career as a restaurateur and owned 2 steakhouses in New York and 1 in Connecticut. By 1977, he had opened Studio 54 and raked in about $7 million in profit. His cocky attitude and profit margin caught the attention of the FBI, who raided the club in 1978 and then again in 1979. He and his business partners were charged with tax evasion and several other related felonies. When he got out of prison in 1981, he lived in a halfway house for several months, and he bounced back and later opened the Palladium Club, which was a big club in New York City in the 1980s. He died on July 25th, 1989 due to septic shock and hepatitis, which were listed as complications of his AIDS virus. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a productive day, and be nice to each other.